Thanks to Brilliant for supporting this episode of SciShow. Go to brilliant.org/SciShow to check out Brilliant's Introduction to Neural Networks course. It's tough to miss a big building-rattling earthquake, but even if we do not feel a rumble beneath our feet, it may still contain useful information for scientists. That's why 24 hours a day, seismographs are listening closely to the rumbles of our planet. In fact, there are over 13,000 active seismic stations out there, and that is far more data than seismologists have time to go through. Which is why, in a 2020 study, researchers set up a showdown of humans versus machines to sift through all this information and in the process, crown the heavyweight earthquake detection champion. One type of rumble that researchers are particularly interested in is called a teleseismic event. That's where the waves from a big earthquake, often a long way away, trigger another, usually much smaller earthquake. Geophysicists haven't come to a consensus on how one earthquake triggers another in this way, so figuring out when it happens and when it doesn't may help us predict which areas are most at risk of these remotely triggered rumbles. For the study published in the journal Frontiers in Earth Science, the researchers took data from seismic stations around Alaska to detect both small earthquakes and tremors caused by 30 larger quakes. Tremors are slower and weaker releases of energy than earthquakes are, which release their energy near instantaneously. Then, the researchers provided the data to our competitors. First up in the human corner, citizen scientists. Over 2,000 earthquake detectives volunteered for the study. They were not experts in seismology, just regular people who wanted to help out. They watched and listened to a small piece of the seismic data, converted into both a visible waveform and an audio file. The idea is that when we listen to sounds, our brains naturally do a great job of analyzing and classifying what we're hearing. In this case, you can easily identify earthquakes by a telltale sound similar to a slamming door. On the other hand, tremors sound like a train traveling over railroad tracks, and background noise can sound like anything from wind to static. So converting the initial data into a sound made it easier to spot the differences. Each of these pieces of data was classified by 10 detectives as an earthquake, a tremor, or just background noise. But they had competition. In the opposite corner was Team AI, a machine learning algorithm. This was a deep learning model, meaning it had the ability to classify data based on multiple features, as well as learn from its past guesses and refine its predictions. It identified earthquakes by comparing a section of unknown seismic data to a reference database where each event was identified by experts. Essentially, the algorithm took a piece of unknown data and found the most similar examples in that database to classify it. To figure out which team came out on top, the seismologist referees needed to identify some of the earthquakes themselves to figure out what the correct answer actually was. And after all that, the winner is Team Citizen Science. Their earthquake labels were 85% accurate, nearly 10% better than the AI. They weren't quite as good at classifying tremors as they were earthquakes, but at the time, there was no AI that could detect tectonic tremors at all, so the humans still won out. Now, that does not mean the AI is out of the fight. After this initial showdown, things took an unexpected turn. The researchers used the citizen science data to train the AI to do a better job. In another study published a year later, the AI was able to surpass the humans at earthquake detection. This training even taught the AI to detect tectonic tremors for the first time ever. So maybe in the end, the moral of the story is humans and machines accomplish more by cooperating than by competing. It's likely AI will become an increasingly valuable tool for finding earthquakes, but the efforts of volunteer citizen scientists will still be needed to first point it in the right direction. This is the first time an AI has been trained to detect this kind of remotely triggered earthquake, so in the paper, the researchers encouraged other scientists to recruit volunteers to classify their data and grow the size of the AI training database. So humans will continue to help the robots get better at detecting these rumbles, which in turn could help predict the risk of future quakes and keep those humans safe. And while this particular project is over, if you're interested in doing some citizen science yourself, we will leave some links in the description. If you want to learn more about the machine learning we talked about today, you can over on Brilliant, where they have a whole course devoted to it. They have plenty more science, math, and computer science courses too, and Brilliant has recently upped the interactivity factor to the next level. Now, courses like algebra and algorithm fundamentals are extra engaging to guide you the whole way through. If you're interested, you can sign up at brilliant.org/scishow to get 20% off an annual premium subscription, so thank you for your support.